Or is there anyone playing chop chop?
Tired and cold, but it does me well to see you here. Let's take our time, 'cause you know we've got all night to slow to now.
Two. All right.
Let's forget the what might be and slow to now. Let's take our time, 'cause you know we've got.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have the survey form with you, and we would like to have your honest opinion of Magic 2017. And please tell us what can we do better for our next event or our next Magic event or any other event, of any new ideas and so on. So the survey form is very important. So we really appreciate your honesty and your pointers that you're going to give. And make sure to pass it back to our magicians or any of our staffs or crew from Magic will be up when you're exiting the two doors. At the same time, I do like to stress, some of you have your mineral water and your drinks and so on. Once we're done with the session, let's keep the auditorium clean. Please make sure to actually, take out the bottle and drop it at the rubbish bin. And don't leave it in the auditorium, please. Thank you. How does it feel? You guys look so lazy right now.
When I'm too weak to think
Yeah, keep the smiles coming, keep the smiles coming. Yeah, there you go. The speakers will get really comfortable when you're smiling, actually. So yeah, don't frown throughout the whole session. And not just the middle people, and the left as well. Yeah, wear the smile. Yeah. Sitting here. Okay, that is not an Indian name. That means smile. It's in Tamil. Yeah. And people on the right, you guys are very serious. Yeah. People on the beanbag are smiling. Oh yeah. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, we are live on Facebook right now. So if you want to get your friends or anyone who actually wanted to attend the session and couldn't, you can actually tell them to go into Magic's Facebook so they can actually watch the whole session live. And also, the Facebook Live is open for you to ask questions as well. Just in case you are shy and you don't want to hold the mic and ask the question. So you may ask the question in Facebook Live later on to the panel of speakers. Father, where's mine? Can I make an order as well? The pelayan, yeah. Can the waiter get me another coffee? Since Mr. Michael don't want it, yeah, I think I'll take the coffee. Okay, that's mine. Thank you. Hey. Sorry for a bit. Oh, you need it. Are we ready to go? Thank you. Yeah, please don't ask questions now because we're already on Facebook Live. So ask questions after the panel are done talking, or, you know, after the whole discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening, and thank you for being here at the MA2017 Magic Academy Symposium 2017. My name is Slide, and this is our final session that we're going to have with some of the mentors and the panels. And I'm glad that you guys could join us right here. And we have a full house today. This is wonderful. And for the first time, we have the beanbags as well. This is great. All right. For safety reasons, just to let you know, in case of emergency, let's say we have a fire or something like that, there are two exits. The exits that you came through, which is the entrance on the right and the left, and also the door on the right beside the stage. These are the three exits that you will take, and you will assemble at the Obama lawn in front of the entrance of Magic Building, which is behind the mobile stage, okay? And also, we are going Facebook Live right now, so if you need to ask any questions, and if you're a bit shy, you can do so by asking through Facebook Live later on to the panel speakers, okay? And if you do take pictures and so on, hashtag MA2017, simple as that. All good? And keep the smiles coming all the time. The smiles. Yeah, smiles. Our final session right here today. This is going to be good. The title is actually Work for a Large Company or a Startup. The Universal Laws of Succeeding in Both Industries as a Graduate. Let's call upon the speakers or panelists right here. We have the founder of AshShop, Mr. Richard Kerr. Richard. The Program Manager, Community Department from Magic, Cairo Mazwa. the CEO from Driving Talent. Put your hands together for Michael Teo. Michael Teo is the moderator. He's the moderator. So I think you should check the script later on. All right, Michael Teo will be the moderator. Michael Teo, ladies and gentlemen. And apparently you became the moderator here. I don't know why, but the beautiful CEO of Automate, Kimberly Wan. Thank you.
Hello everybody, can you hear me? All good? Excellent. Welcome to Magic Academy Symposium 2017. Welcome to our fellow panelists and hello to all of you watching live on Facebook right now. We are now heading into our final, and personally for me, and I believe all my panelists share the same sentiment, the most exciting panel of all, that is work for a large company or a startup. This is also the most exciting topic because it's also the biggest dilemma that all graduates have. Should I work with a big company or should I come to Magic here, be super inspired by all these entrepreneurs in front and work for a startup? How many of you here would like to work in a startup? Be inspired by the entrepreneurial journey. Can I see a show of hands, please? All right, okay. Okay, some of you, excellent. How many of you here would like to work in a big company first? Can I see a show of hands? All right, some of you too, okay. How many of you here don't want to work at all? Can I see a show of hands? All right, great. No problem. I want you now to look to your neighbor, to your left and to your right and tell them, hey, don't be too serious. Let's learn and have fun. Go. All right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise. Excellent. Give yourself a huge round of applause. We're going to start our forum right now. And for all of you watching, yes, clap your hands as well. Be in the energy. Be like all these people here. Now, we have, of course, the wonderful list of panelists. We have Miss Kimberly Wan from Automate Me. We have Mr. Richard Kerr from Air Shopper. Yes, Air Shopper. There you go. So now everyone remember Air Shopper. Okay. And then, of course, Cairo Maswan. But I'll be honest. Can I be honest with all of you? It's so hard for me to call this last panelist here Cairo Maswan because I've known her for close to 10 years now and I've always been calling her Kak Juan. So she's very nice, you know, she works with Magic, you know. And again, Magic made this possible. They made this forum possible today. Can we give a round of applause, a huge one, for the people at Magic and all of you back home too. So we have our three panelists right here. Okay, now, my first question that I would like to ask is, what would your advice be? Now again, this question is extended to all three. If we have some of our ladies and gentlemen here, and those watching at home, if they are now at a crossroad, oh, kena buat keputusan yang amat mustahak dalam hidup kita. Adakah saya nak bekerja dengan startup atau adakah saya akan bekerja dengan syarikat gergasi? What would your advice be for them? If let's say a person comes up to you now and say, what should I do? Let's start with the person who works a lot with universities, if I may. Kak Juan, please. Cairo Maswan from Magic. Please give her a round of applause.
Okay, thank you so much, Michael, for giving me this first chance. Hello, everyone. Okay, cool. So to respond to the question by Michael, if any of you are facing this crossroad, do I go into a startup or do I work in a big company? There is no right or wrong answer, right? Because each individual is different, but it depends on what you want out of your life experience, right? From my perspective, okay, I'm just going to answer from my perspective. From my perspective, in the early days after you graduate, you have a lot of energy. You have a lot of ideas. You want to try out a lot of different things. So in this kind of situation, working in a startup would be able to unleash those kinds of wants, right? Because in a startup community, you are able to explore, experiment, you'll be doing a lot of things. In a startup, it's usually quite a small size. Well, not like a big giant corporation or an MNC, right? So you'll be able to see how the business functions because you'll be wearing many hats. Most of the structure is pretty flat. You'll be, sitting next to your CEO, maybe, right? So this happens in a startup. They call it the flat structure. Are you familiar with flat structure? Siapa tahu flat structure? Tak tahu. Okay, tak apa. Let me just take a bit of time to explain.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Flat structure means from the CEO level, you have people reporting to the CEO, right? Like vice presidents or senior directors. And then below them, you have people like directors or senior managers. So there's like a hierarchy of reporting line, right? In a startup, that line tends to be very flat, meaning you could end up reporting to a VP. Do you get me or not? Right? So this kind of opportunity gives you a lot of flexibility, ability to experiment, ability to air your opinion, what you think you want to try out, right? With regards to corporate, okay, if you go into the corporate, it's good in the sense that it is very structured, right? Because corporates tend to be very big, right? They need structure to keep everything glued together. Imagine a corporate with, let's say, 5,000 people, right? Without structure, everything else is going to go chaos, right? So it's very structured. You'll be able to see how a big corporate functions at a very, very, specialized level. Let's say if you're doing marketing, right? And you're doing marketing, social media related channel, right? So most of the time, you will just be doing social media related channel marketing. Because in a big corporation, they tend to specialize, right? So this is my take, and I hope that this insight gives you some ideas what's the culture in a corporate versus the culture in a startup.
Thank you so much, Kak Juan. Thank you. Can we give her a round of applause, please? Excellent. Richard, what are your views?
Okay, for myself, I'm giving my opinion from one specific perspective because currently I'm working for a medium-sized company, but at the same time, I'm also working on my startup. Yes. So, the internet gives us plenty of opportunities these days. You can get access to information pretty quick, anything that you want. You can learn new things. You can learn new things every day. So from my perspective, if you were at a crossroad, my advice would be try to work for a company first. Try to learn some of the things, some of the company culture. How do people operate in companies? How do they gain experience? How do they work within a structure? So from that, you can gain more experience. And with this experience, you can actually use it to build or work for a startup eventually. So for my case, because I'm currently attached to a company, but at the same time, it also gives me the opportunity to build my own startup. So it does take time. I need to focus on on two different things. But then if anyone says that you should be only focusing one thing, they might be true. But sometimes it's usually related to their limitation and not yours. So that's why for my case, I'm continuously working in a company to try to learn as much as possible and try to apply both sides, whether for my startup or whatever I learn from my startup, I apply in my day job.
Excellent. Kimberly, go ahead.
Hello, everyone.
Isn't she lovely?
So I actually have a very different take to Richard, simply because with Richard, he has gone from a corporate structure to actually a startup. But from my personal experience, I've never been in a corporation. I went directly from finishing university straight into a startup, where I was the only employee for 8 months and I did everything that you could imagine. And then I started my own company after that. And the thing is that you should be very true to yourself and look at your strengths. When you're finishing university, what are you good at? Is there something that you're skilled at already that you've loved, that you have a passion for, that you think you could take to the next level and you would want to learn in that field? Or are you not sure? And if you're not sure, do you want to try a bunch of things, different experiences, things in operations, things in sales, marketing? Because in situations like that, you should go into a startup. You should go into a startup and learn, because you will be thrown into the deep end of the pool and you would have to actually do everything. And it would be a very steep learning curve for you. That being said, I also understand that you have to look at it in a realistic manner. Not everybody who finishes university, after they finish university, are able to support themselves straight away. And sometimes financial security plays a large role in your life. And in situations like that, sometimes going into a corporation is also wise, because you get that security and you get to learn in peace, with peace of mind. Whereas when you go into a startup, you will not be able to get such a high pay straight away, but the chances are you will learn a lot more in a lot diverse departments and structures and areas. So it's really a matter of where you are. Are you financially secured? Do you think you can take maybe a year, 2 years to be a little bit cash strapped, but to learn a lot? Or do you feel that you need the structure and a little bit more financial security, in which case it would be wise to take down a corporate road maybe for 2 or 3 years and learn, just as what Richard had done, and then start your own startup. Because then you have more connections, you have some financial security, and you won't be as stressed about money, and be able to actually take on the next part of your life or next chapter.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. Can we give a round of applause for our panelists so far for being so confident? All right, rather intimate as well in sharing your advice to these young people right here. Now, my next question to you is very interesting. As young people, graduan kat sini, we are very fearful of making the wrong decision. Sometimes, you know, with all the campaigns and the stories we have heard about entrepreneurs succeeding, kita juga nak jadi usahawan, betul tak? But kita takut nak buat salah. We're afraid to make mistakes, right? So when we want to work, if let's say lah, katakan kita nak bekerja, nak start kerja dengan startup, what are some of the criteria, in your opinion, that these young people should look out for when they want to select a startup that they want to work with? Right? I think to put you in more perspective, right? I think I'm just going to throw both Kimberly and Richard here on the spot, okay? Why should these young people work with you? What can you offer them as the startup entrepreneur? Don't you think it's good for them to sell to you now? And to sell to you, oh, come on, I'm pretty sure if you want to give a resounding yes, you say yes. 3, 2, 1, what do you say? Yes. Excellent. All right, here we go. Why should they work with you? You are startup entrepreneurs. So in your opinion, when they want to select that first job to work in a startup, what are the criteria that they should select for? Which I hope you memang want them to work with you lah. You know, it's like you pitching to them. So please, anyone. Richard, you could start. Kimberly, you could start. Anyone. Kak Joan, I'll come back to you in a moment's time.
I think I'll let Richard start first.
Oh, there you go. All right.
Okay. After working for so many years, you get to interact with so many people of all ages, of all different experience. But ultimately, at the workplace, all you want to have is a good relationship with your colleagues or with the co-founders. So from here, if I were to hire somebody for my team, I will always look into the personality more than the skills. Because skills can be taught, but personality or the quality of the person cannot be taught. Okay, for example, because I used to work in Beijing, China for a long time. So one of the projects that I've worked on is to hire people for a call center. So there was this American company, they set up a call center in China. So they wanted to serve American customers. So apparently you need to be able to, understand English. You need to be able to speak properly to the American customers. So during the initial stage, when we did the hiring, we took the approach of getting people who have the good IT skills and with some English skills. So when we went live during the first 2 weeks, it was a disaster. Do you know why? Because they were not able to understand the customers. Although they have very good IT skills, but they were not able to respond to problems that were reported by the customers. So eventually we took a different approach. We said, we're going to find somebody who have good English skills, who have good personalities, but the IT skills, we did not focus on that. And then it worked wonderfully because we were able to teach them the IT skills, but with the good personality that they have, and then the customers were satisfied and we were able to get more customers after that.
Right. Kimberly, go ahead.
Well, from my point of view, for me, the reason I would believe you should work with us is actually because we are respectful people. I think respect is a very important characteristic and trait that everybody should have. And the good thing about being in a startup is that if you prove yourself to be reliable, if you prove yourself to be dependable, take initiative, you will be given the opportunity to do a lot more. For example, if you're in a startup, if you're working with us, and we see that you're flourishing in a certain area, we will give you that opportunity to move up. We will give you that opportunity to work with people directly above you, and that's something that's very difficult to come by. If you're in a corporate structure, I can tell you very honestly, from what I've discussed with people and a lot of individuals, when you come in, you have to take 1 to 2 years to get promoted up. 1 to 2 years. Now, that is not a long time when you look at it in this, in the long term where you're working for maybe 30, 40 years. But in a startup, the opportunity for you to get promoted faster is there if you take the initiative. And we are those kind of people. We are looking for people who are happy to work with us. We're looking for people who are respectful. We're looking for people who want to learn, take initiative, and because of that, we believe we can grow with you. And so if you're that kind of person, please do come by and talk to us afterwards.
Excellent. So pretty much one of the criteria if you want to work for a startup is when you go to the startup, I think research about the founders, study about the company culture of the startup, see whether it matches your personality or not. Are we good? Right. Now, before I continue, here's what I would like you to do, okay? You have learned some points from our panelists right here, right? Kak Juan, I'll come back to you in a moment's time, yeah? You have learned some points, correct? You have some ideas right now. So here is what I want you to do, okay? I would like you now to sit straight up. Here we go, sit straight up, everybody. And what I want you to do right now is I just want you to turn to your neighbor, to your left and to your right. Give them a nice pat on the back and say, have you made your decision? 3, 2, 1, go! You know what, ladies and gentlemen? Well done. Give yourself a huge round of applause. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when I invited you to just pat on the back of your neighbor and ask, have you made your decision? There's a story playing in your mind. Ada cerita tau. Cerita ni is, after you have heard what Kimberly, what Richard and what Kak Juan has shared so far, some of you already have a story. You're thinking, is startup for me? Is startup not for me? Dah ada dah. I'm not asking you to tell us the answer. For what I am asking you to do is to reflect. Kalau nak join startup, kenapa? Mereka dah explain. If you want to join a big company, kenapa? But now, this leads us to our next question. I hope you are ready. Are we good? Excellent. Now, Kak Juan, my next question to you. Your role in Magic is to work with thousands and thousands of students across universities in Malaysia, correct?
Yes, correct.
Excellent. Now, you have seen banyak kerena-kerena pelajar-pelajar kita ni, okay? I'd like to ask, right, Kak Juan, the spotlight's on you now. If you could name 3 characteristics yang you rasa memang graduan kita pada masa kini kena ada, they must have. These 3 characteristics that they must have in order to become an in-demand talent for the startup and for big companies. What would those 3 characteristics be?
Okay. Wow.
She wasn't prepared for this. Can we give her a round of applause, please? You know,
Soalan tu bukan susah, bukan senang ya, susah juga tapi tak apa. Kak Joan, I have faith in you. Go ahead.
Macam masuk exam tak baca buku Tak apa, okay. Limited to 3, Michael.
Limited to 3. That means the 3 main focus. Three fastest thing that come through your mind.
Okay, sure. First thing first is you must have initiative, right? Nowadays, let me give you a classic example. If you see a rubbish in front of you or at the side, do you just walk past it or you pick the rubbish and put it somewhere? What do you do? Biasa je kan?
No, okay.
Or, this is just a simple example, right? Initiative is very important because companies right now are looking for people who do things without being told, but in a positive way. Right? Do things without being told in a positive way. To me, I sum it as initiative. Right? So nowadays, employers are looking for people who can go the extra mile. And this extra mile is called initiative, right? A simple example that I can throw one more to you, Michael. Let's say if I ask some of you to come up with a, let's say, short report, right, on a particular topic, right? Most of us, me included, I guess, would just come up with that short report. But somebody who has initiative would give one thing extra at least. Maybe he or she will come up with maybe a short video or, just something extra. So that actually makes employers, doesn't matter whether it's a startup or is a big MNC corporation, they will notice you. So this is important,
Okay.
And the second point is you must be problem solvers. Problem solving is very important because nowadays in a corporation, whether a startup, we are all solving problems on a day-to-day, minute-by-minute basis even. Am I right, guys? Yeah? So problem-solving skills is very important. If you see problem and if you're afraid to tackle the problem or find a solution to the problem, then that will not be very favorable, right? But if the person, the student or the graduate, have this courage, the ability to face the problem, try to solve the problem in the way he or she knows, because not all of us know everything, right? So the way we solve problem also is dependent on what we know, right? So that's second skill. The third skill to me is I call it people skills, right? You have to be able to mix and be comfortable with different type of people. Because when you work, there'll be, the aging folks, the warga emas, there'll be young people, early 20s, there'll be people who are shy, there'll be people who are extroverts, there'll be people who are, the alpha type, want this now. But you must be able to work with all of them, be it in a startup or be it in a corporation. So I guess that would be my top 3.
Thank you. Now back to you, Richard, and also Kimberly. If any of these graduates right here, including the ones watching at home right now, if you could name one way only, one way, for them to make an impression to you when they meet you, in order for them to get hired and work in your respective exciting startup, what would that one impression be? Like, how would you expect them to leave a lasting impression in you? Anyone? Richard or Kimberly? Anyone of you would like to answer first? Kimberly, go ahead.
For me, I would have expected you to have researched on the company and actually know what problems we are trying to solve. And as a result of that, come up with solutions that you think could work.
Wow.
Nothing is honestly better than somebody who's thought through your problem and thought about an extra way that you may not have thought about as a founder yourself to solve your problems. Because that's basically why you need diversity. That's why you need a lot of people and more minds working on things, so that you have different perspectives and so that you can get a lot of different ideas. So if you take that initiative and go that extra mile and show me that you're not just taking information off the website, but actually understanding what it is that we do, and then giving suggestions that are workable, possibly, or feasible, I think that is a testament to you being able to take initiative. And I think that's very powerful.
And that's powerful because, again, ladies and gentlemen, you haven't even been hired by the company yet. There you are, you want to talk to Kimberly, you want to work in Automate Me, you research about the company, and then you come up to her first interview now. First impression, you're already sharing with her some of the solutions that you think can help her. But Kimberly, what's your thought? Some of our graduates today, mereka takut salah. They scared if they research about you, they suggest to do this, but they scared that they get it wrong. Will you penalize them or do you appreciate the initiative more? Which one?
I appreciate the initiative more because at the end of the day, if you are wrong, that's okay. It shows that you've thought about it. You've thought about the problem and you've thought about, oh, maybe it could be solved in this manner or that manner. And it shows that you're critically thinking versus if you're too afraid to fail and as a result you use that as an excuse or a reason not to move and take the next step, then that's going to always be the barrier to stop you, whatever you do. Yeah.
Thank you, Kimberly. Richard, back to you.
Okay, back to me. So for my case, it'll be more of your communication. Communication is extremely important because we start to communicate from as young when we were born as a baby. And throughout our lives, we'll be communicating with people of all ages, of all levels. So for me, communication is extremely important because if you were to work in a startup, you need to be able to communicate with your customers. If you are, you need to be able to pitch, you need to be able to sell the products, you need to be able to talk to your customers. So it's the same thing, even in corporates. You'll be asked to communicate in a meeting or to present something. So everything relates to communication. So it's extremely important for you to be able to communicate, not just with your friends, but try to spend time practicing probably in front of a mirror. I know one startup is currently working on a product that you'll be able to communicate with an artificial intelligence that will give you feedback on how you communicate. So that's really my one advice.
Thank you so much, Richard. Can we honor our panelists with another round of applause, please? Can we give them a round of applause? And thank you for all of you watching at home. My dear panelists, this is the end of our first half. We have a second half actually. But before I go on, here's what I want you to do. Ladies and gentlemen, all good? Here's what I want you to do. I would like you right now to take out your notepads and your pen. I want you to write down 3 golden nuggets. Golden nuggets here is 3 main points that you have learned from our panelists so far. I want you to write it down right now. I'll give you 1 minute. Just quickly write it down right now. Go, 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 go. And for the DJ or the person who's taking care of the music set, can we have some music please, yeah? Playing at the background to accompany our graduates, all right? If we have any music. If not, don't worry. We can listen to the music of pen clicking and pen writing.
Or Michael singing.
Here we go. Or Michael singing, huh? Wow. That would be nice, you know. If you dare me, I dare. Yes, there you go. Music is up. 1 minute. Write down 3 main points you have learned so far. Write it down. Write it down. Kalau tak tahu, ini bukan peperiksaan. Boleh tanya kawan, boleh tiru kawan. Okay. Tak apa, tak ada markah demerit kat sini, okay? Alright. 3 points. Write it down now. Go, go. Heighten up the music. Come on, let's go. Okay, tuliskan ya, tuliskan. 45 more seconds. Time flies when you're enjoying yourself. Here we go, here we go, here we go. For those of you watching at home, please do it as well. Be in the crowd with us, okay? Can all the panelists, can you just look to the camera and smile at everybody there? Hi. Alright, excellent. Here we go. Okay. 30 more seconds. Cepat-cepat saja. The first 3 points that come to your mind, write it down. Here we go. Gonna wrap it up. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All good, ladies and gentlemen? All right, make some noise. Get some of the energy up. Give yourself a huge round of applause. Congratulate yourself. Now, here's the one thing I would like to invite you to do, okay? Turn to your partner, to your left and to your right, and just tell them, stay on, let's continue learning. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, guys, well done. Okay. Now, we will go for the second half of our sharing session. So, ladies and gentlemen, second half ni, you akan nampak ada kelainan sikit. Kelainannya adalah saya akan mula bermain phone saya. And people, some of you will be thinking, apa punya moderator ni? Pantang main phone di atas stage. But, ladies and gentlemen, here's what has been happening. Later, we will be opening up the floor to questions. But at the same time, we have also been receiving questions from all of you watching via Facebook Live. Alright? So, here we go. We've got some question here. So, ingat ya, I nak buat disclaimer kat sini. Bila I tengok phone saya, bukan I tengah main Pokemon Go atau apa ya. I am actually looking at the questions. Okay? So, the first question we have is from this guy called Simon Teo. Right? A lot of people always link new startup with tech-related stuff. It seems like this is the trend in the market nowadays. Do you mind to share some explanation on this? I think what Simon Teo is asking here is people always, when you say startup, they always think it's only technology related. Do you agree that it's only technology related, or startup can be other things as well? I think I would extend this question to only one of the panelists. Anyone would like to pick it up? Go ahead. Go ahead. All right, Kimberly, can we give a round of applause for Kimberly, please? Very nice. Here we go.
So the actual explanation of a startup is a company that's supposed to grow very quickly. And to be able to achieve this sort of growth, it could actually be many types of businesses. However, the reason why it's associated with technology very closely is because of the influences that we have. You know, we've got Silicon Valley influences, we've got all these technical startups making big news. You've got Google, you've got Facebook, you've got Amazon, and everybody is tied to technology. Now, I believe actually that a startup is something that grows fast and is tied to technology. And the reason I say this is because if you are a small business, you could be starting up, but you may not be growing as quickly. You may be capturing a smaller market, but you're not capturing a wider market, which a startup is aiming to actually do. To get explosive growth, to get a lot of customers in, to validate your idea. And so I do think that they are very interlinked in that sense. So I hope that answers.
Thank you, thank you. Next question for you, Richard, I believe. It comes from Zhao Wei Kim. Thank you again for your question. Will globalization and advancement of artificial intelligence affect the future employment landscape in Malaysia in the next 10 years? Should we be worried? And if so, how do we remain relevant to the market? Richard.
Okay, so artificial intelligence, I actually attended a talk yesterday at Magic around 5 p.m. Artificial intelligence is evolving. It's getting better through technology and through research. Should we be afraid? I think we should not be afraid yet. Because for Malaysia...
I like how you put yet.
Exactly. So for Malaysia, for example, we still rely on a lot of manual labor, on a lot of things. Just one example, if you go to a restaurant in Malaysia, you still need to order manually, you still need to rely on a waiter or waitresses, whereby in some countries they have started implementing technology that you don't even have to rely on waiters to get orders for your food. So in terms of AI, as I said, in Malaysia, maybe it's already in the process, it's already happening. Because the things that we're looking at, we're already experiencing right now is, for example, chatbots. Chatbots that you talk on, say, for example, on a Facebook page. Usually if you approach or start a conversation on a Facebook page, it might not be necessarily a real person talking to you. It might be a chatbot, for example. So we are going into that direction, definitely. And what's ever happening around the world, that will definitely pull Malaysia into that direction. So we don't have to be so afraid right now, but then it's good for you guys to start learning and start researching on the trends and the future of jobs. How would it affect you one way or another? So technology will always evolve, so you need to keep yourself up to date on what's going on, because eventually there are some jobs that will become obsolete. Okay?
Right. Thank you so much. Kak Juan, the next question is for you from Noor Maslin. Thank you again for all of you watching on Facebook Live. Kak Juan, Noor Maslin asks, in your experience working in Magic and dealing with thousands of university students and big and small companies, now this question is focused on big companies, yeah? What do large companies prefer first? Do they prefer graduates with the better results, for example, CGPA 4 flat? Or do they prefer graduates with better social skills, like being entrepreneurialistic and resourceful? Kak Juan, your cue.
Okay, if you're talking about MNCs, yeah, multinational companies or big companies like maybe Shell or IBM or Dell, CGPA is something that they will not move away from, right? Because they are at a point where they are looking for premium graduates. They are doing the picking, right? So they naturally want someone with good CGPA. Not saying that it's 4.0, right? It's good CGPA, not like 1.9 ke apalah, you know. But there is a trend that we have observed where this attitude, these social skills is also very, very strongly evaluated in the MNCs, right? So they are looking for things in your resume such as, have you volunteered into any projects? Do you understand about people relationships? You know, through volunteering, you can meet different types of people, so you acquire that skill. Or have you led a team? Have you gone into any competitions? So these are the things that is not mandated by the faculty or by the CGPA, but they are looking for what else is there to you. But CGPA is important. You can't say that, you know, no need to look at CGPA, but just focus on social skills. No, I don't think that will work either. So you just have to strike a balance and look into those social skills, people skills, attitude, volunteerism, and I think that is what most big companies are looking for.
All right, thank you, Kak Juan. Thank you to the panelists. Can we give them a round of applause, please? Excellent. You know, some of you, I know you're sitting there thinking, I have never exercised my palm so much. Now I've been exercising so much today. Keep clapping my hand. But great, we want to create some energy around here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to throw this opportunity back to you, where you would now have an opportunity to ask our panelists this question. But before we do that, here's the one thing I would like you to do. I would like you now to just, sit up. Let's create some movement. Let's create some energy around here. I would like you to turn to the person next to you, just not left and right, next to you, just as someone you're comfortable to, and talk to them about a question that you may have for the panelists here. Are we good? So I'll give you 30 seconds, 3, 2, 1, talk to the person. Go. Lima belas saat lagi. Lima saat lagi. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, ladies and gentlemen, all good? Give yourself a thunderous round of applause. Bagus, thunder dah masuk dah. Ladies and gentlemen, before I open the floor up to you, can I share from my own opinion, yeah? You are now given an opportunity to ask whatever question you want to our panelists here. Bukan senang nak dapat masa mereka duduk depan kita sekarang. But unfortunately, sebagai Orang Malaysia lah. Our custom, our budaya here, kita ni senyap sikit. Why? There's a story in our mind now playing. I nak tanya soalan tapi malu lah. Tak apa, biar dia tanya dulu. You tengok semua, senyap. Boleh dengar bunyi cengkerik. Now what happened, ladies and gentlemen? Here's the one thing I want to ask you. Whatever story you have in your mind right now, whether it be, alamak, I shy lah, alamak, I dah letih lah, tell you what. Tell yourself that story, give it a 5 minutes break. How many minutes break? 5 minutes break. And tell yourself a new story. This is your new story. I now have my golden opportunity to ask any question I want directly to these entrepreneurs. You would also have the chance to make an impression to these entrepreneurs here. I hope then you would take this chance and ask a question. Let's not disappoint us. Are we good? So let me take a risk right here. Here we go now. Any questions from the floor? 1, 2 questions already. Excellent. Can we give that a round of applause, please? Celebrate. Come all the way out. Do we have a mic? Right, we have a mic runner going all the way up there. Trust me, I haven't even finished saying my sentence. They already raised up their hand. Can we honor them again? Give them a round of applause. Bagus ni. All right. Introduce yourself, sir. Introduce yourself well, because out of these hundreds of people here, most likely you are the only one whom we will remember. Sad reality of life. I'm sorry, saya maaf, beribu-ribu maaf kerana tersinggung perasaan. But this is reality. Go to you. Go.
Okay, thank you, Michael. This question is actually for Richard.
Introduce yourself.
Sorry.
Tell us where you're from. Impress us. Go.
My name is Han. Actually, I'm from the construction industry, and I always wanted to do something with my full-time job and something at the side. So, Richard, just now you mentioned something about working for a medium-sized company and your startup, right? So actually, me and a few people behind, we're actually very curious on how you manage to do so. Any tips or challenges, or
how you balance
anything
your
you can
time?
enlighten us with? Yeah.
And can I ask? Can I add more chili to your question? More
Sure,
chili.
sure, Michael, sure.
Richard, how do you balance your time? And how do you convince your boss to allow you to work on your startup while having a full-time job? I think that's important, right?
Yep.
All right, there you go. See, I tahu apa you sedang fikir. Go ahead.
I clone myself.
You clone yourself.
I clone myself.
Can you tell me the machine? I will buy it straight away. I need to clone myself too.
Okay. All right. So to have a startup, right? It's especially if you're building a really new startup. What you really need to find is a good co-founder. So I'm very fortunate that for my startup, I have 2 very good co-founders, so 3 of us all together. And we all have the level of understanding that we need to be able to work together to make this work. So that's one thing. So one of them is, one of the co-founders, he's actually a recently graduated student. But then the level of passion that he's able to show and to dedicate for the startup, that's actually one factor why we can make this thing work. Okay? And the other thing about how do I convince the boss? So before I joined the company, I've already worked on the startup, so I don't have to convince him. All right? So, but then again, you need to be able to communicate properly, as I mentioned earlier. Your supervisor or boss need to be able to understand the things that you're working on. But in any case, if you're already working full-time for a company, you need to be able to focus on your day job to make sure that you are not distracted by other things. So in my case, for example, because of the wonderful co-founders that I have, we can still keep the startup going and to make sure that things are working on a daily-to-daily basis.
I think it's very important, I'm always a believer, and I'm pretty sure you would concur with me. The reason why conflict happen is because of mis-expectation. In a sense where if you are working on a startup behind your boss, you have a full-time job. Kalau tak bagi tahu boss, takut tersinggung perasaan, your boss find out, lagi teruk nanti. So I think it's better to come up being clear the expectation, because if you really believe your startup could work, if let's say your boss tak suka you buat startup, ask you to leave your full-time job, I think if you're very passionate about your startup, you know it will work, I think you'll stick with your guns. You'll stick with your startup, right? Would you say so,
Yes,
Richard?
totally understand.
Yes,
agree.
Excellent, great. Now, I thought I want to open the question to Kimberly as well, but Kimberly will pause you for a while. Reason being because I want to honor the second action taker at the back. Can we give a round of applause, please, to our second questioner? Yes. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Simon. Actually, very coincident because the question I actually plan to pose it to Kimberly. Okay, as you mentioned, let's say let's say fresh graduates after they join a large company, and you can see large company normally they come with a very nice package where indirectly you have good incomes, and has a human nature, a good income will lead to a better quality of life, which is increase your commitments. Then once you're already comfortable with all these things and you are stuck in a comfort zone, so it's a challenge for that person to get up from a comfort zone to go for a startup. So do you mind to like shed some lights in these matters? Thanks.
Yeah, I think that's a really great question, because for me, having not actually gone directly to a corporation and gone straight into startup, the difference between what I was having to spend on a day-to-day basis when I was in university didn't differ too much. And I didn't end up overspending my money in the first place. And so if you were to go into a corporation, for example, and you have a really great package, you have benefits, medical, dental, all those things, and a good starting salary, but you have intention to start a startup, I would say live below your means and make sure you save so that you have money to start that startup. Because when you start something, it will take you a year, 2 years to get it off the ground. And if you don't have investment and you're bootstrapping, that is where your funds are going to come from, unless you have family and friends who are pulling money for you as well. Otherwise, please do spend and live below your means, because once you go that high, it is very hard to come back down. Once you've driven a very nice car, sometimes you don't want to go and change into like a smaller car. So I think as long as you are aware of that and you know what you are going for in the future, in the next 3 years, 5 years, you will know how to allocate your funds and adjust accordingly.
I think it's also very important just to share, and I echo what Kimberly has mentioned here. At the same time as well, if you decide to join a startup or a big corporate, at the end of the day, you have to come and ask yourself, what is your happiness? Ada kalanya, when you join a big corporation, they give you the package, it's very nice. Sure, it's no doubt very nice. You can afford better car, better houses, great. But then you have to ask yourself, are you relating your happiness index with that of materialistic items? Maksudnya, only a Porsche car can make you happy. Because sometimes I've seen there are people who join startups because they are pursuing their passion. Sure, they cannot drive a Porsche car in the next 2 years, but at least they know they are pursuing something they love to do. Are we all good? Something I thought I wanted to share that over there, to also share perspective. Kak Juan, you have been waiting. Dengan sabar ni kat sana. Now we have a question. Oh, by the way, opportunity knocks, yeah? Any more questions from the crowd? Raise your hand, please. Oh, bagus. Ada lagi. Fantastic. Ada dua. Fantastic. Okay. You pause for a while. We remember you. Sir, you with the grey tie. Fantastic. And sir, you with the black jacket. There you go. Well done. Okay. But before we go to you both, which I think according to our time, we only have time for maybe you both later, but never mind. Now, Kak Juan, there's a question from Facebook. Is it possible that the big MNCs will be working with Magic to boost the employability of the graduate? This question came from Chun Hon. Kak Juan, your response.
Okay, let me just recap on that. Is there a possibility of MNCs working with Magic?
With Magic to boost the employability of our graduates.
Right.
Inilah masanya. Promote Magic. Go.
Okay. Actually, Michael, Magic has been working with big corporations. We have an initiative called the Corporate Entrepreneurship Responsibility, or CER, where we work with big corporations to come up with challenges that we can throw to the entrepreneurs to solve, or to the startups to solve. One example is that we are working with Sunway Group, and they're looking into the transportation of the future. So it means that big corporations have certain problems, or they're looking for certain things or product or services for the future, and they're actually trying to get ideas and solutions from the startups, who are usually quite, creative, and they are usually cutting edge as well. And when we work with the corporations, they will give some funds to be given to the startup that has the best idea, probably opportunity to prototype it alongside with a big corporation. And when that happens, right, naturally it will open up more jobs.
Yes.
So indirect benefit, or we call it the benefit to the rakyat, is if the startup is doing well, then naturally they'll be hiring either programmers or they will need help to launch that project or to do that prototype, right? But on the other side as well, we are working with corporations because there is interest, I think universally, not just in Malaysia, that big companies are looking for very entrepreneurial graduates.
Betul.
Right?
That's right.
Have you heard of the word intrapreneur? Intrapreneur means the people who are working inside the corporations are very entrepreneurial. They solve problems, they're creative, they do more with less. So these are desirables even to big MNCs. So it's not a losing end, right? So for us at Magic, we do welcome working with the corporates. And if any corporates are interested, please come and say hello to us.
Yep.
Because we would like to, work with corporates and get students to be more entrepreneurial, indirectly benefiting them in the future if they hire someone entrepreneurial into the company.
Excellent, Kak Juan. Can we give them a round of applause, please? Can we have some mic runners, please, to the gentleman right there with the grey tie? Yes, introduce yourself, sir, making an impression. Well done.
My name is Said. I'm a student from MSU. Okay, I think in my knowledge, it's hard to find the information on financial performance of startups. So my question is, how is it for me to find if it's the startup successful or not?
Wow, okay.
I repeat.
So yes, I got your question, sir. All good. So it's how do you find information about the startup to see whether it's successful or not,
yes,
so that you can decide whether to join the startup or not.
Yes.
Because the last thing you want is to join a startup that is dying, right?
Yes.
All right. Okay, excellent. Can we give him a round of applause, please? We have one more question to the back. One more question to the back. Tadi ada lagi satu. Oh, sudah sembunyi. All right, one more question to the back. Is there one more question to the back? Yes?
Yeah, hello.
Yes, introduce yourself, sir. Yes.
My name is Nahyan. I'm from Magic here. This question is open for anyone who would like to answer. In your opinion and from your experience, what are some of the misconceptions people have about working in large companies or startups?
Right, so his question was, what are some of the misconceptions that people may have working in a big company versus a startup? And I'm going to reserve that last question for Kimberly because she looked at me with a very warm smile. I think she has a lot of good answers for that. For the first question, where how do you look for information if a startup's business is healthy or not? Any thoughts, Richard or Kak Juan? Please, anyone.
Okay, I can start first. Okay, so in Malaysia, right, there are a lot of different news portals that usually update on what are the most happening startups, what are the emerging startups which are available in Malaysia. So it's not that difficult to find those kind of information. However, another way of really checking on the status of the startup is actually going to their website and also checking their Facebook page or the social media. Usually if you hear or see a lot of buzz, that usually it means something positive. It can be negative as well. But then that's really one way on to see the indication. So for example, a startup with a good Facebook page, for example, doesn't necessarily mean it has a lot of likes, but you will be able to see the level of engagement or level of interaction that you see within a Facebook page post, for example. If I've seen a lot of startups with huge numbers of Facebook page followers, but then whenever they post something, there's really no one responding to the post, or you don't see any interaction at all. You can also check the website if they are updating the website regularly. If you've seen the website has been stale for the past 1 or 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, 4 weeks, that means there's something wrong there. Okay?
Right, good. So you don't have to look at the financial performance of the company. Oftentimes you're looking at how the company portrays itself to the public. All right? Excellent. Kimberly, please.
Your question. So what are the misconceptions between working in a startup towards working in a big company?
That's a really tough one.
That's a really tough one, huh? Perhaps I can help you lah, okay? Yeah, ada chance nak tolong. Okay, so please, okay, half, yeah, half. Okay, there's a reason why I can help Kimberly, and I'll share with you all later. Please, Kimberly, go ahead first.
So Nayan, I believe that the misconceptions with startups is that these are people who sometimes can't get a job outside. People actually say that. And I think maybe sometimes people think of it that way because they've not thought about entrepreneurship as something that would help you to grow and help a company to actually form. And I think that actually has to do with mindset and something that could be changed. However, I believe that this misconception should be overturned. Yep. Simply because I think it takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of guts and confidence and a thick skin to start a startup, because if you fail, there's no one to blame but yourself. And, but if you succeed, you have everyone's support to get you there. And that's what people don't see. And I think that's one of the misconceptions of startups, actually.
All right. Can we give her a round of applause and give Richard a round of applause? But I understand, Nair, right now I have to answer the part of the misconception for working with a large corporate. Am I right? So here we go. I think since I'm sharing this question with Kimberly, tag team, here we go. All right, now it's my turn. Now, before that, I want to briefly introduce a little bit about my background. I have worked in a startup before. I have also started my startup. I have also worked with Fortune 500 companies before. I also sit on boards of Fortune 500 company. In fact, I now run a startup that is helping Fortune 500 companies like Microsoft, Oracle, SAP, General Electric, Sony, Intel to develop their young leaders. Are we good so far? Okay, so I hope this qualifies me to share a bit, all right? Yay, gembiranya. Okay, now, here we go. Misconception of corporate. Again, I am not representing a big corporate, but I can share with you sekadar pengalaman sendiri, okay? Alright, first thing first. A lot of graduates come to me, Michael, I want to work in a startup. I say, congratulations, bagus, yay. They say, yeah, I don't want to work in big corporate. I say, why? And they say, big corporate, you go in there, you do little job. You do little job, you don't learn a lot. The leader don't even know you. Big corporate, yeah? I think that's the biggest misconception. I believe when graduates go in, like I work with pretty exciting companies, Oracle, SAP, Microsoft. I can tell you the leaders I work with, they are more than happy to teach you, to mentor and to educate you. Their only problem they share personally with me is, student tak tahu tanya. Students only do what they are told. They don't take initiative, like what Kak Juan has mentioned. They are recruited in, starting as intern, management trainee. All they do is, this is my job description as an intern and trainee. Itu saja saya buat. How to ajar you? I think the most important thing they share with me is take initiative. There's this saying, people join a job for the company, but people will stay in the job because of the people. And trust me, there's a lot of misconception. With all respect to our startup founders, including myself. Startup too, yes, as Kak Juan mentioned, is very flat. You can learn straight from the boss. And even if you don't take initiative in a startup, you would either be removed and fired immediately because the boss cannot afford you to not take initiative. Or number two, because it's so flat, you are bound to learn from the boss. Boleh semua. But when you're working in a big company, it's a lot of structure, which is good, structurized things. This is up to you to ask your boss what you want to learn, what you want them to share with you. Also remember one thing. When you work in a big company, some misconception is, I am a small nut, I am a small device in a big company. You are not wrong. You are correct. But, however, playing, walking, training, working in a specific division in a company gives you an opportunity to specialize. You know what specialize? To be an expert. So that after you finish your tenure with the big company, when you want to come out and work with a startup, Richard would know, if I want to hire my next chief technology officer, I will hire someone who was specialized in technology development and application before. Am I right, Richard? There you go. So the misconception with big companies, alamak, I go in, they won't teach me a lot. You are so wrong. You yang tak tanya. You don't ask the question, you don't take the initiative, the leaders don't know what to teach you. Number one, And number two, when you go into a big company, alamak, I don't learn the big company, I only learn little things. Hello, little things, let you focus, let you be specialized. Are we good so far? Oh, semua muka terpegun, alamak. Inspired dah. Give yourself a round of applause. Well done for staying up so good. Do you have any questions from the floor? Do we have time for more questions, Miss Timekeeper? Good. One question. Wow, dua question. Now it's coming up, huh? The most lively forum ever. Yes. Can everybody just turn to your partner to your left and your right? Kalau boleh, give them a high five and say, we made it. This is a lively forum. Go. All right, guys. Give yourself a huge round of applause. All right. Back to you two. Yes, go ahead.
Hello. My name is Azizi. You can call me Zizi. I'm from UTP, taking chemical engineering. So my question is specially dedicated to Kim and Richard, or Richard, probably.
Kim or Richard, yeah?
Okay.
So see who smile at me first. I'll be looking at you both.
So normally, we all know that the most successful entrepreneurs, most of them, they will face or face the hardships, or in other words, the turning point in their life, which makes them to be a successful entrepreneur. So what was the turning point in your life that you faced that makes you, that brings you to the establishment of your startup? So that's my question. Yeah. Thank you. Do you have any? So. Yeah.
You can see both of them now don't want to make eye contact with me. I am trying to see which one will smile at me first, because it's a question for Kimberly or Richard. Oh goodness, yeah, Richard's looking at me. Richard's looking at me with a thinking face. I better give Richard or I'm worried about my life. Richard, go ahead, please. Turning point.
Okay. All my life, from the beginning, I've always wanted to build my own company. So I took the opportunity to learn during the first 10, 15 years of my career, to learn as much as possible, to develop my skills, even to be able to communicate with people. So I'm actually an introvert person, to be honest, but I took the time to, learn, open myself to speak in public, because I believe that's what was one of my biggest weaknesses in the beginning. But then, for me, there's no really a turning point, because this is actually an ambition from the start. So whatever I've gone through, I use that, whatever that I have learned to build my own company. So, yeah.
All right, there you go. Okay, I think this question is very powerful. I understand because Richard looked at me first with a very thinking mind, okay? I think, Kimberly, I want you to answer this question as well, because you as a student, you graduated and you didn't go into corporate. You started your startup straight away. What was the turning point? Okay? Yes.
So for me, similarly to Richard, I have always wanted to build my own empire.
Nice.
Or my own companies. And since a very young age, I've been thought to take initiative and thought to actually step forward and try to improve myself a lot. So I wouldn't say it is a turning point. Rather, when you reach a point where you think that you have belief in yourself and that you can do it, that you should try. And for me, that was what it was. After I finished university, I had actually worked in Hong Kong as an official for an ice hockey federation. I had done an internship in Sydney. I had worked as a retail associate in Cotton On. And I had worked in other organizations as well. And I had used all these experiences. Yeah, I had used all these work experiences to mold and shape characters and parts of myself to be able to take on a very rounded role. I'm not there yet, and I'm still learning, but I think for me it's about wanting and knowing what you want in your life and going for it. And if you fail, that's okay. You've learned a lot more, and you can actually do better the next time. So for me, it's not a turning point. It's
a journey.
It's a journey, it's an ambition, and it's a goal.
Excellent. Yeah. Great. Can we honor and give him a huge round of applause, please? Our next question, please. Our next question. I know there was people around here, right? Okay, can we have the mic runner? Yes? Oh, two questions. Wow. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, by the way...
One left. Okay, last one. All right. See, opportunity comes. Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Mira, by the way. from MSU, and this is actually my last semester before before I take my internship.
Congratulations.
Okay, thank you. So this question, I don't really know who to ask, but maybe y'all may answer based on the situation. All right. So there's two situations given by my lecturer and my mother. Both are two intelligent women, by the way. So, okay, the first situation is from my mother, all right? So she'll be like, Mira, make sure you always get good results, make sure you get very active kind of, I don't know, maybe your curriculum should be active and all that. So that, and you should always enter a big company for your internship. Why? Maybe after you graduate, you may get a very good reference because, you know, if it's a big company, many companies will be like, wow, this girl, you know, she went to internship for this and that company. But at the same time, my lecturer at the same time did advise us not to go for a big company because, according to her, if you go for like startup companies, you know, you, like what Kimberly said before, you know, you need to do from every single aspect, you see? It's not just like, okay, for example, you're in HR, you need to do payroll and all that. No, you have to do the T&Ds, you need to do the recruitment and selection, you need to do in all sorts of aspects. So, okay, but at the same time, you know, she also said that when you better go for a small company because you get lots of experience job. And she also advises not to go for big companies because if you go there, I'll quote this word, y'all will be doing stupid works like photostating and all that kind of things. So, okay, yeah, so that is the thing. I actually want an advice from one of you guys, which is actually the true one. Go for a big company, get a good reference, or you go for a small company, but you get lots of experience. Yeah.
All right. Back to you. Yes, you can. Kimberly want to answer half of it. Can we give her a round of applause? And then after that, we jump to Kajuan and then to Richard. Go ahead.
So I actually resonate with your question because, for example, with my parents, they're both business owners. So for them, it was more follow your passion, work hard, and see what you can do. And they're very supportive. But I can also understand why your mom would want you to have that kind of security and to be able to go to a big corporation because at the end of the day, a good reference from IBM, Accenture, and all these big corps are going to help you. That being said, if you work in a startup, you are going to be working with a lot of partners because every day you might work with your customers, you might work with a corporation, you might work with a smaller company, but you will always be making connections. And if you yourself take initiative and you do a good job, you are going to have so many references, not just one. And when you have so many references, it's great because you have people from all sorts of backgrounds. You might be working with a F&B partner, you have a reference from F&B. You might be working with another company, it could be a movie or something, and you get another reference from there. So to me, I feel like if you like going for startups, I can't speak for the corporate side. I think Richard would be able to lend a very good perspective on that. But you can actually make your own way. And because you're working in a startup and you have that variety of experiences, the people you meet as well would be high-level people. And they would be coming from different organizations, having different backgrounds, and they could actually connect you to more people and vouch for you, which is essentially what a reference does and is for.
Thank you. Thank you, Kimberly. Excellent, excellent. Yes, Richard, please.
Yes, can I answer that as well?
Yes.
My advice, you might want to try go for internship at a startup, just like what Kimberly said. You know why? Because nowadays, big companies, multinational corporations, they are going for startups. They want to work with startups because huge companies, because of their size and the amount of people within a company, it takes ages for them to change. It takes ages for them to make improvement with a company. So that is why the trend nowadays, you see a lot of these huge companies, they want to work with startups because it gives them opportunities to innovate. It gives them the opportunity to make changes with the company, or even gives them the opportunity to acquire certain companies or small startups. So from this angle, because the nature of your job, working in a startup, you are, as Kimberly said, you'll be interacting with all bunch of people, especially with the leaders of the companies. So you tend to meet the CEO of a big company who are interested to work with a startup. So this itself gives you some credentials for your career.
Can I just share a perspective right here to all of you? I think at the end of the day, references is very important. But personally for me, I believe it's also how you sell yourself. I'll give you an example. 2010, I wasn't even running my own company. I didn't even have a startup, but I decided to form a project team with a group of young people. And we were there to crowdsource close to 32,000 Malaysian youth's views on where should the country be heading to in the future. Are we good? So when we did that, what happened was we produced the report. We then had the opportunity to present the report in London in a youth conference where the report was given to people like Sir Richard Branson, Sir Bob Geldof, Tan Sri Tony Fernandez. The report was even given to our Prime Minister, Datuk Sri Najib. Now what happened was, after I came back from London, I told this young team, now they didn't work in a startup. I didn't even have a startup. It's just a project that a group of volunteers have nothing better to do, come and do. What happened? I told this young member of mine, I said, her name is Bernie. I said, Bernie, you may have been involved in this project voluntarily, but guess what? When you sell it to people, I didn't sell the report, when you sell yourself, you want to pitch yourself to people, pitch yourself this way. My name is Bernie. I've had the great opportunities to work on this One Young World Youth Report that we crowdsourced 32,000 youth's view from Malaysia to actually plan out the roadmap for Malaysia's growth. And this report has been given to the Prime Minister of Malaysia, to billionaire Sir Richard Branson, to AirAsia founder Tan Sri Tony Fernandez, and I am so proud to be a part of this project where I was the designer that designed the report. Now, she didn't work in a startup, nor did she work in a big company. She was working in a volunteer project. But the way she sold it got her so many job offers, not in Malaysia unfortunately, but in Singapore and the US. And today she's the proud company of, if you go out to the Magic Foyer right now, she's the owner of the company that actually draws all those sketches of speakers. She is the girl. Sorry if you're watching, I know I'm embarrassing you, but it's a true inspiring story I wanted everyone to know. In the end, it's not whether you work for a big company or a startup, even though a startup is important, but it's how you sell yourself from the experience. And with this, I believe we have time for one more last question at this side. Here we go. Yes, your question.
It's a very general question. Okay, I'm Navita. I'm from Management and Science University. I'm actually doing Bachelor in TESOL. My question is, to work with you, which will be the prioritical course? Which are only the course related to business or entrepreneurship, or anything than that? You
mean to work with entrepreneurs, must we take our major in entrepreneurship or business, is it?
Yes.
Is that important?
No, I mean that yes, but is that TESOL also can join you?
Is TESOL?
Yeah, because
TESOL.
TESOL, yeah.
TESOL, yeah? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for your information out there, TESOL is an examination program that helps you assess your level of your English proficiency. In a sense, it's supposed to assess the level of how you communicate, how you write, how you present in the English language. Am I right? Are we good? So, with someone graduating with a business degree, is having a TESOL, that means good credibility in English language, proficiency, important for you all to consider hiring them, please. For startups, yeah? Being hired by startups, right? Or companies? Anybody? Wow, anybody. Here we go. Yes, Kajuan. She makes her return. Give her a round of applause, please.
Okay. Right. So you're studying TESOL right now as a degree, right? And you're just wondering whether TESOL is good enough for you to get employment opportunity in either startups or big companies. Yeah? Okay, it actually, you can look at the type of jobs that are offered inside that big corporation, right? Some of those jobs requires very, very high proficiency in English language, which is your strength, right? So you have to go and look into that kind of level, right? Definitely there will be opportunity for someone with TESOL to work in either big companies or even in a startup. Because startup, do you know who's coming out with those websites, those write-ups, those advertisements, those hashtags, right? People who are very proficient in the language, right? So if TESOL graduates are interested, then they just need to look into those type of vacancies or positions and what are the core strengths required for that particular position. If it's language, if it's English, go for it. definitely they will be looking for people like you. Doesn't have to mean that you have to have entrepreneurship subject to apply to join a startup. No, because the core skill that they're looking for is English, and that is your contribution towards the job or the startup. Right? I hope that answers the question.
All right, excellent, well done. Any more views? No? Okay, all good. Can we give them a round of applause? We're going to wrap up our forum session on work for a large company or a startup. I hope you have learned something so far. Thank you again. In the end, this is how I'll summarize their points. If you want to work in a startup or a big company, it depends on what you want to learn in your life. It depends on your personality. It depends on your attitude. And most importantly as well, it depends on how far you want to grow. Work in a company, learn the structure. Work in a startup, learn the dreams. In the end, it's never too late. Both can still cross paths. By the way, can we give another huge round of applause for our panelists, please? Kimberly, the CEO of Automate Me. Richard Kerr, the founder of Air Shopper. There you go. And of course, Kak Juan or Cairo Maswan, the program manager for community development, Magic. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, before I go, 1 minute. Yeah, I know time out already, I know. 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Where is the t-shirt? No more questions, don't worry. Where's the t-shirt? Can you throw one for me, please? All right. Oh, nak baling. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a limited edition Magic t-shirt. I want to share something with you before we depart. And the thing I want to share with you is this. In life, take initiative. If you want to work in a startup, there are so many startups out there now, go apply for a job. You want to work in a big company, send your CV to their website right now. Why? When you take initiative, you never know what will happen. Because for all of you who asked questions just now, this limited edition t-shirt by Magic is yours. So facilitators, go and distribute to them. Thank you again. This is Michael Teo here, founder of Thriving Talents, wishing you all the best. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, Magic. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you so much to the panelists right here, Mr. Richard, Ms. Kimberly, and also Ms. Khairul Mazwan, for a wonderful session that we had, the final panel discussion of MA 2017. So, for those who have asked questions earlier on, please put up your hands so our staffs could actually pass you the t-shirt. And one more important thing, I'm looking for One Ismail. One Ismail, are you here? Anyone friends of One Ismail?